Tell me how you read Christianity and its relation on the current affairs in general.
Christianity in general and its effects on current affairs. Crikey, that's an enormous subject. I well, I think we are a Christian country. Britain remains formerly a Christian country. We have the Queen is the head of the Church of England, and the state church is Christianity. And so, although quite a lot of people have lost their faith, we do remain, and indeed, there's all kinds of other people who believe in other religions. Roman Catholicism, our state church is Protestant, of course, and we have the Roman Catholics, and then now we have the Muslims and the Hindus. And it's marvelous, actually. I think it's fantastic. But in connection with the war, it was very interesting. The British Prime Minister, Tony Blair, made it absolutely central to the war that he was acting in a right and a pure way. A lot of his defenders insisted that he had some communication with God, that he really felt that he had the word of God to go to war. And I always felt uncomfortable about that, because it wasn't the ruling of the Church of England, to which he's a member and which I belong to and go to church regularly. In fact, I'll be going to church in about an hour and a half now. The Archbishop of Canterbury was quite clear that we should not invade Iraq. And then a month or two before the invasion of Iraq, the British Prime Minister Tony Blair went off to Rome and had the enormous privilege of an audience with the Pope. And once again, the Pope was very, very clear: we mustn't invade Iraq. And yet somehow the Prime Minister had his own notion that his Christian faith meant that we ought to invade Iraq. And I think I felt, as a Christian myself, that there was an arrogance in that belief, that he was claiming a superior understanding of the mind of God than the great religious leaders of his time.
So what do you wish the world to be like?
I think the words, I think when we come to contemplate our response to the terrible predicament of the 21st century, the words of Jesus Christ in the Sermon on the Mount are relevant. But I say to you who hear, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, pray for those who abuse you. To one who strikes you on the cheek, offer the other also. And from one who takes away your cloak, do not withhold your tunic.
So all the three holy books believe and say that turn the other cheek. And how could the world be in such a chaos if religions weren't the cause of this? I mean, it's so much differences, people like so much hatred and discrimination going on. I mean, why can't we get along? I mean, I would love for you to comment on that.
Well, I think people misinterpret the teachings of Muhammad, they misinterpret the teachings of Christ, and I don't know enough about the Jewish religion to I must learn more. I think people misinterpret the religious message. I felt this when I was in the States covering the US election campaign, and I visited fundamentalist church, Christian fundamentalist churches in Ohio, and it was very interesting. The very strong Republican, intolerant message we're getting from the preachers. It wasn't anti-homosexual. I found the kind of gay bashing thing I found extremely hard to stomach. I found the message about the Iraq War very difficult to stomach, and you sense that this was a political machine, and this was part of the motivation. And this religious fundamentalism was being used by Karl Rove, the ghastly, terrible, I think, man who advises George Bush on his political strategy, as a way of getting back into power. And I think this mixing up of religion and politics, which is a feature of pre-modern societies. It was a feature of the Crusades, as I was talking about in Britain, or the feature of the Wars of the Reformation, where you mix up with disastrous effects fairly primitive religious emotions